Hello, good morning, and a warm welcome to ADBN's flagship program, Morning Express. And happy Independence Day, Nigerians. It's been a huge milestone for the nation. 64 years since we gained independence. Although saddled by a lot of turbulence, a lot of challenges, the country is still thriving and striving hard. Well, at this point, before we take a look at the latest developments in the news, let's bring you the president's broadcast, nationwide broadcast to Nigerians on this very auspicious occasion of our nation's 64th Independence Day anniversary. Take a listen.
Fellow Nigerians, as I address you today, I am deeply aware of the struggles many of you face in these challenging times. Our administration knows that many of you struggle with rising costs and the search for meaningful employment. I want to assure you that your voices are heard. As your president, I assure you that we are committed to finding sustainable solutions to alleviate the suffering of our citizens. Once again, I plead for your patience as the reforms we are implementing show positive signs, and we are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Exactly 64 years ago, our founding fathers chose democracy as a form of government and launched the dream of a great country that would lead the rest of Africa out of poverty, ignorance, and underdevelopment. A beacon of hope for the rest of Africa and the world. Over 6 decades later, we can look back, and Nigerians worldwide can see how well we have succeeded in realizing the lofty dream of our founding fathers. The world is witnessing and benefiting from the can-do spirit of Nigerian people, our massive intellectual capacity, and our enterprise and industry in all vocations, from art to science, technology to infrastructure. The dreams that our founding fathers envisaged are still work in progress. Every day, we put our hands on the plow, determined to do a better job of it. While it is tempting to focus on what has been left undone and where we have stumbled as a nation, we must never lose sight of how far we have come in forging and holding our country together. Since independence, our nation has survived many crises and upheavals that led to the dissolution and disintegration of many other nations worldwide. 6 years after independence, our country descended into a political crisis that led to a bitter and avoidable civil war. Since returning from the brink of that darkest moment, we have learned to embrace our diversity and manage our differences better as we continue to work towards engendering a more perfect union. Despite the many challenges that buffeted our country, we remain a strong, united, and viable sovereign nation. Dear compatriots, our independence anniversary gave us another chance to reflect on how far we have gone in our journey to nation building and to renew our commitment to building a better nation that will serve present and future generations of Nigerians. While we celebrate the progress we have made as people in the last 64 years, we must also recognize some of our missed opportunities and mistakes of the past if we are to become one of the greatest nations on earth, as God has destined us to be. Our mistake must not be follow into the future. My administration took over leadership of our country 16 months ago at a critical juncture. The economy faced many headwinds and our physical security highly impaired. We found ourselves at a distant crossroad where we must choose between two paths: reform for progress and prosperity, or carry on the business as usual and collapse. We decided to reform our political economy and defense architecture. On the security front, I am happy to announce to you, my compatriots, that our administration is winning the war on terror and banditry. Our target is to eliminate all threats of Boko Haram, banditry, kidnapping for ransom, and the scourge of all forms of violent extremism. Within 1 year, our government has eliminated many Boko Haram and bandit commanders faster than ever. As of the last count, over 300 Boko Haram and bandit commanders have been eliminated by our gallant troops in the northeast, northwest, and some other part of the country. We have restored peace to hundreds of communities in the north, and thousands of our people have been able to return home. It is an unfinished business, I agree, which our security agencies are committed to ending as quickly as possible. As soon as we can restore peace to many communities in the troubled part of the north, our farmers can return to their farms. We expect to see a leap in food production and a downward spiral in food costs. I promise you, we shall not falter on this. Our government has been responding to the recent natural disasters, particularly the flooding in the part of the country. After Vice President Kashim Shettima visited Maiduguri, I also visited to assure our people that this federal government will always stand with our people in their times of trouble. At the last meeting of the Federal Executive Council, we approved a disaster relief fund to mobilize private and public sector funds to help us respond faster to emergencies. Our government has also ordered the integrity test of our dams in the country to avert future disasters. The economy is undergoing the necessary reforms and retooling to serve us better and more sustainably. If we do not correct the physical misalignment that led to the current economic downturn, our country will face an uncertain future and the peril of unimaginable consequences. Thanks to the reform, our country attracted foreign direct investment worth more than $30 billion in the last year. Fellow compatriots, our administration is committed to free enterprises, free entry and free exit in investment while maintaining the sanctity and efficacy of our regulatory processes. This principle guides the divestment transaction in our upstream sector, where we are committed to changing the fortune positively. As such, by the central bank to monetary policy management has ensured stability and predictability in our foreign exchange market. We inherited a reserve of over 33 billion 16 months ago. Since then, we have paid back the inherited forex backlog of 7 billion. We have cleared the ways and means debt of over 30 trillion naira. We have reduced the debt service ratio from 97% to 68%. Despite all this, we have managed to keep our foreign reserve at 37 billion. We continue to meet all our obligations and pay our bills. We are moving ahead with our fiscal policy reforms. We stimulate our productive capacity and create more jobs and prosperity. The Federal Executive Council approved the Economic Stabilization Bill, which will now be transmitted to the National Assembly. This transformative bill will make our business environment more friendly, stimulate investment, and reduce the tax burden on businesses and workers once they are passed into law. As part of our efforts to re-engineer our political economy, we are resolute in our determination to implement the Supreme Court judgment on the financial autonomy of local governments. The central concern of our people today is the high cost of living, especially food costs. This concern is shared by many around the globe as prices and the cost of living continue to rise worldwide. My fellow Nigerians, please be assured that we are implementing many measures to reduce the cost of living at home. I commend the governors, particularly in Kebbi, Niger, Jigawa, Kwara, Nasarawa, and other Southwest governors that have embraced our agricultural production program. I urge other states to join the federal government in investing in mechanized farming. We are playing our part by supplying fertilizer and making tractors and other farm equipment available. Last week, the Federal Executive Council approved establishing a local assembly plant for 2,000 John Deere tractors, combine harvesters, disc riders, bottom plows, and other farm equipment. The plant has a completion time of 6 months. Our energy transition program is on course. We are expanding the adoption of the presidential initiative on compressed natural gas for mass transit with private sector players. The federal government is ready to assist the 36 states and FCT in acquiring CNG buses for cheaper public transportation. Fellow Nigerians, While we are working to stabilize the economy and secure the country, we also seek to foster national unity and build social harmony and cohesion. Our economy can only thrive when there is peace. As we work to overcome the challenges of the day, we remain mindful of next generation as we seek to galvanize their creative energy towards a better future. We lead today with the future we wish to bequeath to our children in focus, recognizing that we cannot design a future that belongs to them without making them its architects. Considering this, I am pleased to announce the gathering of a national youth conference. This conference will be a platform to address the diverse challenges and opportunities confronting our young people, who constitute more than 60% of our population. It will provoke meaningful dialogue and empower our young people to participate actively in nation building by ensuring that their voices are heard in shaping the policies that impact their lives. We are creating a pathway for a brighter tomorrow. The 30-day confab will unite young people nationwide to collaboratively develop solutions to issues such as education, employment, innovation, security, and social justice. The modality of this confab and selection of delegates will be designed in close consultation with our young people through their representatives. Through this compact, it will be our job as leaders to ensure that their aspirations are at the heart of the conference deliberations. The government will thoroughly consider and implement the recommendations and outcomes from this forum as we remain resolute in our mission to build a more inclusive, prosperous, and united Nigeria. Our government is implementing several other youth-centric programs to give our young people an advantage in rapid changing world. We are implementing, among others, the 3 million technical program of the Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, aimed at building Nigeria's technical talent backbone. We have also enthusiastically implemented the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund, which provides cheap loans to our students to pursue their tertiary educational dream. In addition, later this month, we shall launch the Renewable Hope Labor Employment and Empowerment, the LEAP. It is conceived as a comprehensive suite of interventions and job creation by Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment that is aimed at facilitating the creation of 2.5 million jobs directly and indirectly on an annual incremental basis, while simultaneously ensuring the welfare and safety of workers across the country, as is the tradition. The government will soon announce all the beneficiaries of our national honors for 2024. The Senate President and the Chief Justice of the Federation have been conferred with the honor of the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON. The Deputy Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives have honor of Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, CFR, while the Deputy Speaker of the House has been awarded Commander of the Order of Niger, CON. Fellow Nigerians, better days are ahead of us. The challenge of the moment must always make us believe in ourselves. We are Nigerians, resilient and tenacious. We always prevail and rise above our circumstances. I urge you to believe in our nation's promise. The road ahead may be challenging, but we will forge a path towards a brighter future with your support. Together, we will cultivate a Nigeria that reflects the aspiration of all its citizens, a nation that resonates with pride, dignity, and shared success. As agents of change, we can shape our destiny and build a brighter future by ourselves, for ourselves, and future generations. Please join us and join our administration in this journey towards a brighter future. Let us work together to build a greater Nigeria where every citizen can access opportunities and every child can grow up with hope and promise. May God continue to bless our nation and keep members of our armed forces safe. Happy Independence Anniversary, fellow Nigerians.
That was the president's address to the nation. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has addressed the country, touching on key issues that has been bedeviling the nation in the past couple of years. I mean, since inception of his office in the last 1 year, especially ways of alleviating the sufferings of Nigerians. And key is also the issue of the insecurity in the northwestern part of the country that he mentioned that his government is on top of the issue to ensure that that is curtailed. We will be back on the program to discuss this more in-depthly during the course of the show. But before that, let's join Peace Ogenegbawe to intimate us on the latest in the news. Hello and good morning, Peace.
Good morning to you, Chijioke Okafor. Happy Independence Day to you. Good morning and welcome to ADBN News at 7. We bring up latest headlines from across the country and the world. I am Peace Ogenegbawe. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has congratulated Nigerians on the 64th independence celebration of the country. While commending the resilience of citizens, he expressed his understanding of the challenges Nigerians face as his administration returns to the economy and devolves power. He also disclosed the commencement of National Youth Conference to help Nigerian youth participate in nation building. This would be a 30-day confab with delegates selected from across the country. He promises that the government will implement critical resolves from the confab. Now, details of this speech would come in subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, as part of the speech, President Bola Tinubu has conferred on the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, the honor of Grand Commander of the Order of Niger, GCON. He made this known during his Independence Day speech, stressing that plans are underway to host a national honor and awards ceremony to honor deserving citizens. In the meantime, Nigeria Labour Congress has extended its congratulations to Nigerians as the country celebrates its 64th Independence Day anniversary. NLC President Comrade Joe Ajero, in a statement, acknowledged the struggles faced by Nigerian populace, particularly the downtrodden, who have endured broken promises, exploitation, and corruption by the government. He encouraged them not to lose hope in the country. Comrade Ajero's message emphasized the resilience and sacrifices of workers despite the frequent betrayals by political leaders. He urged citizens to protest legally against injustice and the subversion of democratic values by the political elite, highlighting that the elite often only act responsibly when compelled to do so. NLC President also cautioned the political elite against undermining democratic principles, stressing that such actions can no longer be tolerated. Still on felicitations from Nigerians, Bauchi State Governor Senator Bala Mohammed has urged Nigerians enduring hardship to remain patient with the country and the government, and assuring them that efforts are underway to alleviate their suffering. In a goodwill message marking the 64th independence anniversary, Governor Mohammed emphasized the importance of cooperation with government initiatives aimed at providing relief. Reflecting on the significance of the anniversary, the governor urged Nigerians to honor the sacrifices of the founding fathers and to ensure their efforts were not in vain. He expressed pride in Nigeria's ability to govern itself and navigate its diverse cultural landscape, stating that despite the challenges, the people have shown the world their capacity for unity and progress. As Nigerians celebrate its 64th Independence Day celebration, some citizens in Bayelsa State believe the country has made significant progress despite numerous setbacks. Those optimistic about the contributions of the founding fathers in making this day possible. However, some do not share in this. Let's now join our Bayelsa State correspondent, Achinonu Temple, who gives a report.
Nigeria got her independence on October 1st, 1960, and 64 years down the lane, Nigeria still believes, despite many setbacks such as flood, insurgency, agitations, the country has made appreciable progress in provision of infrastructure. They also paid glowing tributes and extolled the immense contributions of the founding fathers.
Where we are supposed to be far more than where we are. The purpose of our freedom fighters that ensure that Nigeria must be together, their reasons, their purpose has been defeated. This is not what they dreamed for. The likes of Nnamdi Azikiwe, Bafemi Awolowo, and all that you can call.
while we agree that they worked so hard for the creation of the state and for the advancement of the state, some of them also worked very hard to keep us the way we are. It's just unimaginable that we have gotten to where we are today as a country. At 64, we should be close to an advanced nation. Yeah. But rather, we have retrogressed beyond even a third world country. That is the situation we are in.
These men you just mentioned were great men that met well for this country called Nigeria. You know, in their days, they were tall, they were respected all over the world. Wherever they go, they know these people are Nigerian. But
for some political pundits, the country needs rebirth that will accommodate divergent interests and create room that will address plight of the common man.
In the then days, we were talking of farm. Cocoa was in the south, in the north there was groundnuts, in the east there was even coal. And these things were used in developing Nigeria. But today, everybody fall back to the oil from the Niger Delta. We all wait for the revenue from the federal. But whereas it comes from the Niger Delta, the oil wealth is what everybody is looking at to survive in Nigeria. That is why we cannot move forward. If all of us can look deep into what we produce in Nigeria, what we have in our various states, to tap into those resources, God-given resources, Nigeria will not be where we are today.
People were also producing, the Meslin was in Port Harcourt, where they were producing tires. Today, there is no place in Nigeria they are producing vehicle tires. So, when you are only a consumer without production, you can't move forward.
Nigeria has faced agitations for self-determination from many socio-cultural groups. Analysts, however, believe that the best way is move on as one indivisible entity. Achinono Temple, ADBN News.
Let's have you know that Bayelsa State has marked 28 years since it was created from Rivers State by the late General Sani Abacha. While many commend the pace of development in the state over the years, others hold differing views. In this next report, our correspondent Achinono Temple examines the progress and challenges of development in Bayelsa State since establishment.
Created in 1996 by the late head of state, General Sani Abacha, the state has 8 local government areas. Bayelsa, which is in the south-south region of Nigeria, is one of the oil-rich states in the Niger Delta. The first civilian governor was Jepriye Alamesia, who began the process of state development with the creation of Nyenegua-Mbiama Road and other infrastructure. As the state clocks 28 years, a good number of Bayelsans believe the state has a lot to celebrate.
As a Bayelsa, we're supposed to have industries. In this Bayelsa, now we are celebrating 28 years. We cannot even talk of a plastic company, not even slippers company, even pure water. What about this our normal Coke we drink? Nothing to talk about it, but I believe in other areas, like maybe in road dualization, creating little streets, they are into it, they are doing it.
And good, we get one road where we take come inside, go outside. And inside the state, development, they come up small. But for me, no be so it's supposed to be. Suppose don't high pass like that. You know, compared to other states where they create alongside with Bayelsa State. Check out now. As me they talk now, light no dey this state. For the past 2 months now, light no dey. Another states they get. And they say Bayelsa State now one of the hosting states when it comes to oil. We know they do well. Maybe we check them now. We know they do very well. The roads where they say that they do, now cast they cast them. Normally, no be casted roads supposed to this state. Now, better colta, they're supposed to better colta.
Bayelsa has a history of worst flood in Nigeria, ocean surge, militancy, mudslide, and even climate change. These, analysts say, are hindrances to speedy development of the state.
Okay, the issue of flood, you see, there are much we can do. For example, if you dredge the major water routes to the major sea, and it will help. So that is the area they also need to work on. Another thing again is to get our politics right. For example, if a sitting governor, even though there's a difference in party or difference in opinion, once another governor have gone, the one that takes over should be able to follow and complete the project. Because there are projects that one will initiate. For example, the 5-star hotel that have been there. Look at the proposed car park at Okakadia, which is close to us here. It's still there. So those are the things. But I do not really know whether the owners of the land want it that way. But in other cities, we find out there are some few states in this country whereby the successor and the predecessor, they follow a pattern, like a developmental project, where everyone will follow the pattern. Once you come to the system, so if they can structure the city to that political arrangement whereby both the successor and the predecessor will follow the same pattern, so that there will not be this issue of this one will start, this one will stop, because you never can predict the political dynamism of Nigerian society.
So far, 9 governors, including 4 military administrators, have ruled the state since 1996 when it was created. Achinono Temple, ADBN News.
And now to judiciary matters. President Bola Tinubu has sworn in Mrs. Kudirat Kekereekun as Chief Justice of Nigeria. The ceremony took place in the council chamber of the State House in Abuja. President Tinubu lauded Justice Kekereekun and her rise as a testament to hard work and an inspiration to women, particularly young girls, in a male-dominated profession.
This is as much a personal accomplishment as a watershed in the Nigerian history. Your rise to this extolled position is a testimony to your dint of hard work and ability to shatter the glass ceilings in a career path dominated by men. This day has also been cemented the judiciary as a self-evolving and progressive institution. And I specifically congratulated Nigerian women. Yes, any girl child can dream big and have her dream come true. It is worth celebrating.
He underscored the pivotal role of the judiciary in safeguarding Nigeria's constitutional democracy.
The judiciary is an important pillar constituting the tripod that holds our constitutional democracy. Indeed, the Nigerian judiciary at various times in history proven to be the moderating force that ensures that everyone remains in check, and we are in check. Your role as the last hope of the common man serves to sustain our people's confidence in democracy, knowing well that there is an important arbiter that can always give them redress if they are wronged. For this function, it is important that our judiciary remains truly independent.
President Tinubu reiterated his government's dedication to improving judicial officers' welfare and working conditions, noting recent decisions to enhance their effectiveness in administering justice.
While we may have reasons to interface as complementing component of the same government, the government under my watch will also be mindful of the clear line demarcating the two of us. We will never interfere or abuse the relationship that exists between us as separate organs of government in our democracy.
He urged Justice Kekereekun to continue upholding the principles of ethical leadership, fearlessness, and honesty that have defined her career.
I want to urge the new Chief Justice of Nigeria to continue to uphold our reputation of being an ethical, fearless, and honest jurist. The Nigerian judiciary needs a leader with these qualities at this time, and I have no doubt that he will set the pace for others to follow. I congratulate you. I congratulate Mama Savage for witnessing this occasion.
Now, on our first assignment to the nation, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun has delivered a firm message regarding the importance of adhering to court orders, stating that compliance is non-negotiable. She emphasized that no individual or institution, regardless of status, will be permitted to disregard judicial directives, warning that such disobedience undermines democracy and risks chaos. Justice Kekereekun made her remarks during a special session at the Supreme Court, which marks the start of the 2024-2025 legal year and the conferment of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria rank on several distinguished lawyers. She called for collective efforts to reinforce the rule of law and maintain societal balance, stating that respect for the features of an enduring democracy is crucial. The Chief Justice also urged lawyers to promote these principles among citizens and to advocate for a just society. Away from that, let's move to the National Assembly, where the social media influencer, Mr. Martins Otse, popularly known as Very Dark Man, and his lawyer, Mr. Deji Adeyanju, has arrived at the National Assembly complex for the Joint Committee investigation allegations of corruption against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Nigerian Correctional Services. Recall that controversial cross-dresser, Mr. Idris Okuneye, alias Bobrisky, who was convicted and sentenced to prison for Naira abuse in April 2024, accused the EFCC and NCOS of demanding bribes from him to enable him serve his term in the VIP section of the Kirikiri Medium Custodial Center in Lagos. Trouble started following a voice note shared by Very Dark Man, in which Bobrisky was heard claiming that after his conviction and sentencing for abuse of the Naira notes in April, his godfather, in collaboration with the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service, arranged for him to serve a 6-month sentence in a private apartment. Now let's get the proceedings of the hearing.
It was also reported that some EFCC operatives demanded a sum of 15 million naira as bribe to give Bobrisky what is termed as soft landing in his case. Worthy of note is another financial inducement of an alleged 10 million naira to Falanas in their offer to Bobrisky to facilitate his release through the Minister of Justice using presidential pardon. Flowing from the above, it is very clear that these allegations of corruption are weighty weighty controversies against two of the nation's key agencies. They are symbols of national unity, honor, and discipline. Hence, all must be ready to give the fullest cooperation as we try to get to the root cause and unravel the facts of the matter.
So I didn't see any reason why I should keep the audio. I kept the receipt of his payment, which he paid that day. He paid that day. So immediately I got it, I just smiled. So he was actually guilty. But here's the thing, Bobrisky didn't know that this guy recorded everything. But because Bobrisky, obviously I have the platform, yeah? He understands how I roll. So he quickly paid, but I said, no, it has to go there. Now, I need to clarify something about Femi Falana and the Falana chambers. Because apparently right now, some people are taking advantage of what is going on to target Femi Falana. And I would like to still say here now that I apologize to him for the dent on his name. But however, it's so sad that his name was inside that audio. I could not believe it as well. That was why that was the part that even irritated me more, which I said I refuse to believe that it will be part and party to something like that that would make people take somebody out of prison and to get a pardon. So yeah, I have the recording. I have one part. I can't give you guys the whole part because I don't know if Bobrisky Godfather is here to collect everything.
There was social media hype because Idris' friends and some family members donated chairs, 21 plastic chairs, to the visit area environment that doesn't have, they have inconvenient chairs. Chairs were not enough. So when they come to visit sometimes, hello, when they come to visit us, they discover that there is lack of chairs. So they went and donated chairs and wrote the name of Idris Okuneye Olarewaju as the donor. Then the next minute it went viral on social media. Sensing that this may cause security breach, the controller took action.
Who moved him? Who moved him?
I was not present, but let me say this. I was not present, but let me tell you.
I draw the attention of the Honorable House to the fact that the onus of proving this grievous allegation against officers of the Commission rests squarely on the accusers in this case, the ex-convicts and the very dark man. It is noteworthy that the Commission extends an invitation to the ex-convict and the very dark man to come and assist the Commission in unraveling the identities of the officers of the Commission to whom the alleged bribe of the sum of 15 million naira was paid. Regrettably, up to this moment, none of them have honored the invitation.
Now, in order to find a lasting solution to these allegations, the federal government has established a committee to investigate the gross misconduct within the Nigerian Correctional Service stemming from claims made by cross-dresser Mr. Idris Okuneye, popularly known as Bobrisky. The independent investigative panel was inaugurated yesterday by Minister of Interior, Mr. Olubumi Tunji Ojo. While emphasizing the need for reform within the correctional system, the minister assured that the committee would operate within legal boundaries and that no individual, regardless of status, would be shielded from scrutiny. The panel is chaired by Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mrs. Magdalene Ajani. Other members include Director Legal, Mrs. Omotese Eva, Director Joint Services, Mr. Nasser Usman, President of Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action, Dr. Uju Agomo, and a consultant with extensive experience in human rights and corporate leadership, Dr. Ikechukwu Ezugu. Following Bobrisky's allegation, the minister, who also chairs the Civil Defense, Correctional, Fire and Immigration Services Board, suspended several officers overseeing the Kirikiri Custodial Center in Lagos State. Bobrisky was sentenced to 6 months in prison for currency abuse, but a leaked phone recording suggested he spent his time in a VIP facility rather than in standard prison conditions. Let's now move to Taraba State, where the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Maitama, Abuja, has remanded former Taraba State Governor, Architect Darius Ishaku, and former Permanent Secretary of the Bureau of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Alhaji Bello Yero, in the custody of the Economic Financial Crimes Commission. Now, the pair were arrested on 27th day of September for allegedly diverting the sum of 27 billion naira from the Bureau of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. AFC claims this amount was part of a 2.5% contingency fund belonging to the Bureau. Additional allegations, including diverting various sums from the contingency fund, including over 650 million naira between 6th January 2019 and 29th April 2021, and more than 193 million naira during same period. Upon arraignment, both defendants pleaded not guilty. The prosecution, represented by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Rotimi Jacobs, requested a trial date and sought an expedited hearing. In response, the defendant's counsel, Mr. Paul Harris Ogbole, a Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Barrister Oluwa Damilola Kayode made oral bail applications, which the prosecution opposed, advocating for formal applications instead. Justice SCEG adjourned the hearing on the bail applications to Thursday, the 3rd day of October 2024, and ordered the defendants be remanded in EFCC custody. Ondo State Governor Honorable Lucky Ayedatiwa has exercised his prerogative of mercy by pardoning 117 convicts. Ondo State Attorney General Dr. Olukayode Ajulo, while being interviewed, says it is a move that underscores the governor's belief in rehabilitation and second chances. Dr. Ajulo explained that Governor Ayedatiwa's decision includes the release of 19 convicts, while 98 others will have their death sentences commuted and prison terms reduced. The pardons are set to coincide with Nigeria's Independence Day today. Speaking further, he emphasized that this gesture represents a fresh start for the inmates and acknowledges their potential for reform. He also described the pardon as a demonstration of compassionate leadership, reinforcing the idea that every individual has the capacity for change. The Attorney General of Ondo State noted that this initiative not only helps alleviate overcrowding in correctional facilities, but also strengthens community bond by allowing reintegrated individuals contribute positively to society, stating that the governor's actions are rooted in Section 212 of the 1999 Constitution, which governs the prerogative of mercy. Describing the governor Ayedatiwa as a leader focused on welfare of his constituents, Dr. Ajulo praised his commitment to justice reforms and transparency. He therefore asserted that the governor's action reflects a belief in mercy and redemption, marking a significant step towards a more humane justice system. You're watching ADBN News at 7. Watch us on DSTV channel 140, Ava TV app, Star Times channel 140, DSTV channel 258, Avo TV app, Limex World TV app, and Niger TV app. For more stories, visit our website on www.adbntv.com. Stay with us for more stories after this break.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Attention all land allottees in Maitama 2 District, Cadastral Zone A10, Abuja. The Federal Capital Territory Administration, through the Federal Capital Development Authority, is carrying out infrastructural development in Maitama 2 district. To facilitate this development, settle your outstanding right of occupancy and other bills for the issuance of certificate of occupancy on your property. Failure to pay may result in the withdrawal of your RFO and reallocation of the land. Names of affected allottees and the outstanding bills, as well as the remitter link for payments, will be published in the following national dailies of Wednesday, October 2, 2024. Daily Trust, The Nation, This Nigeria, The Sun, This Day, Leadership, Blueprint, Daily Telegraph, Vanguard and Punch newspapers. Comply now and secure your property rights. This message is brought to you by the Federal Capital Territory Administration, building a better Abuja for all.
You're welcome back. Now, Director General of National Senior Citizen Center, Dr. Omokaru, has emphasized the significance of highlighting positive contributions for older persons and challenges they face due to ageism. She made the emphasis during a news conference in Abuja to commemorate International Day of Older Persons. The worldwide event raises awareness of opportunities and challenges faced by the aging population, as well as mobilizing communities to address difficulties faced by older people. Let's now join ADBN correspondent Edidiong Ibanga, who tells us more.
People across the world come together on October 1st every year to mark United Nations International Day of Older People. The day is, however, observed on the 5th of October in the country due to celebrations of Independence Day. Addressing newsmen, Dr. Omokaru regretted stereotypes and discrimination often prevents older Nigerians from accessing essential healthcare, social care, and lifelong learning opportunities.
We still have systems, institutions, persons that hold very negative stereotypes about older people. We still have systems and persons and institutions that have prejudices about older people, that still hold the myth about older people and therefore discriminate against older people, and then tend to make the environment not supportive and not enabling for older people to continue to contribute.
Dr. Omokaru further stated that National Senior Citizen Center will recognize those dedicated to breaking these barriers by honoring them with awards.
Not only will we recognize and celebrate older persons that are continuing to contribute their integral role in the society, we will also recognize the major impediments to improving the quality of life of older persons, and that would be ageism.
The commemoration of International Day of Older Persons, scheduled from 30th September to 5th October, will mobilize media support and culminate in several key outcomes, including greater public understanding of healthy aging, recognition of age-friendly services, and involvement of media and entertainment veterans as goodwill ambassadors for the center. Edidiong Ibanga, ADBN News.
Still keeping up with senior citizens, the federal government has disclosed a 32,000 naira increase in monthly pensions for retirees following the adjustment of salary structures related to the new minimum wage. This change was communicated in a memo from the National Salaries, Wages and Income Commission. The memo, signed by the Commission's chairman, Epo Nta Esquire, specifies that the increase applies to retirees under various salary schemes, including those for doctors, health workers, lecturers, police, paramilitary, and armed forces personnel. This increase is effective from 29th July 2024, and according to the memo, agencies not included in the specified salary structure are advised to apply to the Commission for applicable increases. in accordance with the 1999 Constitution and National Salaries, Wages and Income Commission Act. The announcement follows a recent meeting of the Committee on Consequential Adjustments in Salaries, which agreed on the new minimum wages effective date. It will be recalled that President Bola Tinubu signed the new minimum wage into law on 29th July 2024 after discussions with the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria. The NSIWC noted that the implementation date aligns with when the President signed the bill into law. And moving away from that, the federal government has approved a licensing waiver for investors looking to establish cottage or community cinemas in Nigeria. This initiative was disclosed by Executive Director cum CEO of the National Film and Video Censors Board, Dr. Hussaini Shaibu, in a statement released yesterday in Abuja. Dr. Shaibu stated that the waiver aligns with the vision of the Minister of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, Mrs. Anatu Musawa, which is aimed at encouraging investment in the creative sector. He noted that this move is expected to enhance revenue generation for both the government and filmmakers, while also creating job opportunities for youth across the nation. The Film Censors Board's chief stressed that the waiver is part of President Bola Tinubu's commitment to fostering a conducive environment for investors and improving the ease of doing business in Nigeria. Meanwhile, the National Film and Video Censors Board has already granted provisional approval for an investor to pilot a community cinema project for 12 months, with the possibility of extending waivers based on positive outcomes. Dr. Shaibu encouraged stakeholders to consider establishing community cinemas to revive local film viewing, citing successful models in countries like India. He mentioned the potential for collaboration between community and established cinema operators to enhance the cinematic experience. Additionally, the NFVCB has proposed a reduction in exhibition and distribution license fees to further facilitate growth in the sector. Dr. Shaibu reaffirmed the board's commitment to engaging filmmakers and content creators, urging them to submit their works for classification before exhibition. And now moving to the foreign scene. Lebanon's Prime Minister Najib Mikati has called for a ceasefire in the ongoing conflicts between Israel and Hezbollah during a meeting with French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot in Beirut. Prime Minister Mikati emphasized the need to end what he called Israeli aggression against Lebanon and revive calls for a ceasefire from the United States and France. He highlighted the importance of implementing United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701, which aimed to resolve the conflicts between Israel and Hezbollah following the 2006 war. Minister Barrot's visit marks the first by a foreign diplomat since Israel intensified its strikes on Hezbollah's positions. The meeting occurred as Israeli airstrikes targeted Hezbollah's strongholds, particularly in southern and eastern Lebanon, as well as in southern Beirut, including a deadly strike on a building in the Lebanese capital. Meanwhile, Israel's military has commenced a ground invasion of Lebanon, executing limited, localized and targeted raids against Hezbollah's position near the border. This development follows weeks of escalating hostilities, with airstrikes and artillery supporting the ground operations aimed at addressing immediate threats to Israeli communities in northern Israel. Now, local residents in the Lebanese border town of Hayta al-Shahab reported heavy shelling alongside the sounds of helicopters and drones overhead as flares lit up the night skies in nearby Maish, indicating increased military activity. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has earlier signaled the onset of this new phase of conflict intended to protect residents from ongoing rocket fire by Hezbollah. This escalation follows a series of airstrikes that have already resulted in significant casualties, including the death of approximately 1,000 civilians and the displacement of 1 million people in Lebanon. Meanwhile, the Lebanese army has reportedly pulled back from its positions along the southern border, maintaining a historical stance of non-engagement in conflicts with Israel. In the U.S. President Joe Biden's speech, he called for an immediate ceasefire, expressing concerns over the ongoing violence, while a proposal for a ceasefire by the U.S. and France was previously rejected by Israel. And now, keeping up with sports stories, Super Eagles midfielder Rafael Onyedika has been awarded Bruges Player of the Month, for September in Belgian League. The Nigerian international received 31% of the votes, earning him this prestigious honor. Onyedika outperformed 4 other nominees, including former Liverpool goalkeeper Simon Mignolet. His impressive performances in both the Belgian Pro League and the UEFA Champions League were recognized by the fans. This marks the second time Onyedika has received this award, having previously won it in April 2024. And now to Arsenal, where Mikel Arteta believes that the club's thrilling last-minute victory against Leicester City will help shape the character of the team as they prepare for their Champions League match against PSG on Tuesday. The Gunners scored twice in injury time to secure a 4-2 win on Saturday, finishing the weekend in 3rd place in the Premier League, just 1 point behind leaders Liverpool. Arsenal will host French champions PSG at the Emirates tonight, aiming for their first win in the Champions League this season after a goalless draw against Atalanta. In a pre-match news conference, Arteta expressed that the dramatic victory over Leicester demonstrates the players' confidence in their ability to win in any situation and adapt to varying circumstances during matches. Arteta anticipates a challenging encounter against the French league leaders, who will reportedly be without forward Ousmane Dembele. And that's it on ADBN News. Remember to watch us live on DSTV channel 258, on StarTimes channel 140, Avo TV app, Limix World TV app, and Niger TV app. For more stories, visit our website on www.adbntv.com. You can also watch us live from every part of the world by logging on to www.adbntv.com/live. I am Peace Ogenegbawe, and it's back to Chijioke Okafo for the continuation of Morning Express. Happy Independence and good morning.
Well, thank you so much, Peace, for taking us through our first major news bulletin of the day. Moving on Morning Express, we will be taking a look at some newspaper publications this morning, with most of the stories making the rounds bordering around the 64th Independence Day anniversary of the country. Now, amid the economic hardship and insecurity bedeviling the nation, the president has assured Nigerians that he is on top of the matter and has called for patience. And at the same time, the Inspector General of Police has also beefed up security across the country in anticipation of a planned nationwide protest today. This and many more will form part of our discussions on the program. But before that, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll delve into matters. Stay with us.
It is Groovy Mono, aka the Steez Prince.
Yo, what's up? It's Big Shags. I'm in London.
Hey guys, I'm Princess Jekoko. My name is Mutale Mwanza, the Queen of Zambian Media.
My name is Grand Prince Itech. Hi guys, my name is Baj Adibule. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello guys, I'm Falagade Banks.
My name is Kelechi Amadiobi, photographer, storyteller.
My name is Lanrade Dura, I'm an actor.
My name is Chidi Mokime.
Hi, my name is Uche Uba.
It's Tobe Season.
I'm Stems.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mamas and papas. I am Jimmy. You can call me the Entertainer.
My name is Essie Odometa. I am an actor and a film producer.
My name is Sovico Vala.
Hi. My name is Julius the Genius. I would give a shout out to ADBN.
Big shout out to ADBN TV.
You're watching ADBN.
And you are watching.
Keep watching ADBN TV.
And this is ADBN TV.
And this is a shout out to ADBN TV. Keep watching, don't switch the dial.
Shout out to ADBN. Keep watching, love.
And you are watching ADBN TV.
Shout out to ADBN TV.
I've got one thing for you. Make sure you keep watching ADBN TV.
And shout out
to ADBN TV.
Shout out to ADBN TV. Don't touch the dial.
And you're watching
ADBN TV. Keep watching ADBN TV.
And I'm shouting out to ADBN TV.
You're watching ADBN TV.
Keep watching ADBN TV. This is where to be. And you're watching ADBN.
And shout out to
ADBN TV.
And shout out to ADBN TV. Keep watching.
And you're watching ADBN TV.
keep watching ADBN TV.
Right now you are checking out ADBN TV. One time.
ADBN, keep watching. I love you and kisses.
Keep watching ADBN.
And a special shout out to ADBN. Keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Please don't touch that dial.
Stay groovy.
Mwah.
Hey, Bobby.
Ha! It's a shout out to ADBN.
ADBN, Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
Step into the heartbeat of the world, where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world's unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
If you are not a judge, you are not a judge.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
You're welcome back to Morning Express. Now, very quickly, let's delve into the newspaper headlines this morning. Now, do well to remember that as we read out these headline stories, they are read out strictly as published by the newspaper houses and not necessarily a stand or position of ADBN television on the issues in the news. You can also join us or join the conversation online across our social media handles on YouTube and on Facebook. Keep your comments coming in. Your contributions are very necessary in these discussions. And remember to keep them objective and keep them as respectful as possible. Well, that being said, let's pick up our first two papers on the lineup. The Leadership newspaper as well as the Vanguard newspaper, as we begin to take a look at the developments coming in from different quarters of the country leading up to the October 1st 64th Independence Day anniversary of Nigeria. On the first paper of this lineup, the Leadership newspaper, you'd find beneath the masthead, at 64th Independence, Tinubu admits economic struggles, calls for patience. Straplines say, defends fiscal reforms, says I inherited bad economy. Declares we will survive this one. As governors, others call for patriotism and unity. Now above the masthead, you'd find two stories of interest. EFCC misses annual report deadline, arraigns Taraba ex-governor Darius Ishaku. While Nigerian Air Force probes Kaduna bombing, insists location was a terrorist enclave. You'd also find inserted on the front page of the Leadership newspaper a depiction of the renewed hope agenda milestones since the inception of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration about a year ago. Now, as it greets your screen, you'd find the approval of the 70,000 naira minimum wage, which the federal government has commenced full implementation. And on issues of security, the presidency has said that over 3,700 terrorists have been killed in the last 6 months. Nigeria's most feared bandit leaders are being systematically neutralized at the moment. While of the 330 bridges and roads earmarked for repairs in 2023, over 85% now completed. And Lagos, Calabar and Sokoto Badagry highway projects are currently ongoing, while East-West Road are being redesigned. Now on issues of foreign exchange reserves, the Nigerian foreign exchange reserve is currently at $37.7 billion US dollars, up from $35 billion US dollars back in 2023. While the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, about 46,000 students have benefited from this across 59 tertiary institutions with over 5 billion naira disbursed. The presidential initiative on CNG attracted $175 million in private investment so far in 125 conversion centers in Nigeria. Now, these are just a few of the many milestones that the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President has achieved in the last 1 year. Let's quickly turn our attention away from the Leadership now to the Guardian newspaper. And on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, you'd find the masthead starting off with the phrase Nigeria at 60. Economic hardship, political rifts overshadow celebrations. It's followed by a caricature drawing of Nigeria 64 with what many perhaps believe would be the ruling class as well as the masses struggling for who gets the biggest portion. And it's followed by a caption: "We are working hard, be patient and grateful. Learn to pray and fast for national development." Away from the caricature, you'd find rider stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. New CJN Akpabio Mukhtar sets agenda for Kekerekun, while Tinubu highlights its prospects, embarks on National Youth Confab. FUBA APP insists on local government polls as INEC stops or as court stops ACT from releasing voters' registration. 64 years on, time to reset Nigeria for growth. This is an editorial on news page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. While October 1st protest, it's unconstitutional to confine protesters, Lagos lawyer tells government. And on Independence Day anniversary, Atiku, NLC caution politicians against undercutting democracy. Now let's move on to our next two papers. We take these two papers, we'll have our in-house analyst to dissect some of the issues making the rounds in the news. Our next two papers in the lineup will be the New Telegraph as well as the Daily Trust newspapers. Now as they greet your screen, I will take the first headline story on the New Telegraph, with the phrase in red beneath the masthead: "Tinubu to Nigerians at Independence Anniversary. I'm deeply aware of your struggles in these challenging times. Says reforms yielding positive results. Government winning war against terrorism. Federal government attracted $30 billion FDI in 1 year. Raises hope on increased food production. Drop inflation. Vows to implement Supreme Court ruling on local government autonomy." Other stripe lines say Jonathan hails Nigerian aliens as Kalu advocates unity. Abbas, Sanwo-Olu, Oberore, others felicitate Nigerians. World Bank lists Nigeria among hardest hit nations following food inflation ravaging parts of the country, as World Bank has approved $1.57 billion for health and human capital development in the country. Now you'd also find it beside the headline story: Fearless October, hashtag Fearless October protest, showdown looms as military dominates Eagle Square with 10 mounted trucks, and why Nigerians should learn to protest by sea. I feel like weeping, says Okiri, following Nigeria's 64th year independence anniversary. Country is on brink of one-party state, says Atiku. Anniversary diminished by APC's people policies, PDP have alleged. Now this is also followed by the graph or infographics of the renewed hope agenda milestones reached by the current administration, which I had earlier read on our first paper of the lineup. Now moving on to the Daily Trust newspaper, you'd find inserted on the front page of the Daily Trust beneath the masthead: hardship. I'm committed to sustainable solutions. Tinubu says country winning war against insecurity as he unveils plan for 30-day youth confab. This followed by a congratulatory message by Senator Abdulaziz Yari, representing Zamfara West, to the president, saying Nigeria at 64, with President Tinubu, our nation will rise again. Now this is the much you'd find on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Well, that being said, back in the studio here, we have our in-house analyst, a public affairs commentator, and a regular on the program, Mr. Defolarin Olamilekon, who will be discussing some of the milestones reached by the current administration, alongside some of the shortfalls that many people believe the government has faced. especially the People's Democratic Party that has accused the APC-led administration of anti-people policies that is causing a bottleneck in the growth and progress of the country. Hello and good morning, Mr. Adefolari.
Good morning, Chijuka, and good morning to all our viewers out there. It's good to be here once again. And happy anniversary to all Nigerians. 64 years of independence. It's quite a very worthy celebration to do.
Certainly, 64 years of independence. On one hand, a lot of people are excited. Nigeria is almost 7 decades old. But on the other hand, people like the former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the PDP isn't really excited, particularly about this Independence Day anniversary, considering the fact that he has been quite vocal in news, criticizing the current administration of anti-people policies.
The opposite of anti-people's policy is elite, pro-elite policies. That's what it means. So if the government of the day is carrying out anti-people's policy, that means, or the other way around, it's a pro-elite policy, which means that it's elite that are benefiting. And who is Atiku? He's a member of the elite. So in as much as he's criticizing the government, you should understand that the policy of the government is favoring his likes who are in government, or who have once been in government, or who are trying as much as possible to be in government. You should understand that. So for me, it's not something new that you'll be saying. It's just for us to understand that when elite are speaking from the side of the divide, trying to puncture the people in government, we should also know that they're also creating opportunity for them to be more popular. And the policy he's talking about is a policy that is against the people, but favor the elite. The floating of the naira, who is benefiting from it, who owns the dollar, who keep dollars as their source of wealth, is the elite. The elite the former vice president belonged to. Who are the people in charge of oil and gas sector in Nigeria? Is the elite. Who are building stations here and there, who are buying stake in refineries here and there, who are importing PMS, who are they? Is the elite. So in as much as you want to make us understand it's an anti-people's policy, you should also know that it's the pro-elite policy that's making the rich to be richer and the poor to be poor. And that's what government policy is all about, because the elite that you see today in Nigeria are the instrument, because the state is the instrument in the hand of the elite to carry out what will benefit them on a general note. And we should all be able to understand that from the angle that is bringing this particular conversation. For me, I will have to dissect that statement that in as much as an anti-people's policy, it's also a pro-elite policy which it belongs to. You can't compare that is suffering from high price of food, or it's suffering from a high cost of fuel, because he has the money.
Well, don't you think that perhaps this is coming from not really an angle of him suffering particularly, but maybe out of concern for people that he believes are suffering, people at the grassroots who might not be part of the elite as he is, and who might not be able to afford the basic needs, that day-to-day needs that Nigerians need. Don't you think?
Do you know why I go that critical? Because
so?
it was in government 16 years ago, and their government now owns and the power to build refineries for Nigeria. You get it?
Yes.
And they missed out. It is the problem created initially after independence that the military took over, that the military of themselves failed to repair, that they hand over to civilian in 1999, and the civilian also failed to repair rather than the more problem. It is that same problem that brings us to where we are today. And the current government also is finding it very difficult to solve the problem. So who are we going to blame? You know, one thing about people like us is that in as much as we look at issues from a very critical angle, we must paint it the way it is. It is the problem of Nigeria, it is the problem of the elite. It is created by the elite. It is the action and inaction of the elite that created the problem. The floating of the naira, the cost of high food we have suffering from insecurity is as a result of them not taking drastic action. 16 years ago, when they were ruling under Obasanjo as vice president, what did they do about the oil and gas sector in Nigeria? They gave license to people to be importing fuel. The issue of fuel subsidy that we are suffering today is as a result that they fail to take action. Rather, they concentrate on areas that will make the be more richer, and they continue to dish out palliative. It was under their government that Nigerians know about conditional cash transfer that they begin to give Nigerians money. Nobody was giving Nigerians money in years past. But all this came as a result of they don't understand the solution to the problem they have found themselves. And the problem keep going and keep increasing.
Well, Mr. Olamilekon, let me just get your take, particularly this morning. The atmosphere is tense. There are military vehicles stationed all around the city. At Eagle Square, I learned, as we saw in the news, that there are about 10 armored vehicles stationed there against the planned anti-government protest, October 1st anti-government protest. It appears as if this isn't really a celebration of an anniversary, but rather it's met by a lot of apprehension.
Exactly.
People are scared rather than celebrating. How did we get to this point where what used to be an exciting thing for Nigerians has now become a very scary thing?
It goes back to the failure of the to ensure that Nigerians enjoy their country, benefit from the resources that government has given to us, and distribute these resources equally and affordably and accessibly to Nigerians. Rather, you can see the caricature pictures on the Guardian newspaper.
Yes.
You have a big elite having a big pot
and
with
then
a big spoon,
still dragging
a small pot or a small plate of a food that is going to the masses. That's what is happening. Because over there, the elite have failed to distribute the resources of the country equally accessible to all Nigerians. So they only just accumulate and accumulate as a means of primitive accumulation to themselves. And that's what is causing this, whatever protest that Nigerians want to have at this today, or whatever protest that we're going to take place anyway. But also, the essence of the security tight is because of the failure of the last protest. We all knew how that protest turned out. I was also part of people who are out in media houses talking. By the time we are trying to go back home in the evening, it was something else we met. People claim to be protesters, turn to people who are snatching bags, snatching phone, collecting people's money and the rest of them. So security have to be tight. But on the other hand, we must understand why we are where we are today, because of the failure of the elite to ensure that resources of the state, resources of Nigerians is equally distributed. And rather, it is a primitive accumulation whereby the Guardian newspaper have shown us the picture of what is happening. The elite take over everything and give us the small one. Even the small one they are giving us, they still want to collect it from us.
Now, I just want you to react to something. The depiction of the milestones reached at Renewed Hope Agenda. Now, I would have that on the screen in a short while we dissect the new minimum wage, issues of insecurity, capital projects, constituency projects across the country, the CNG initiative, which has been a very big topic in the country, the student loan fund, which about 46,000 students have accessed. Now this is on the Leadership newspaper. It will greet your screen as we dissect these issues one after other. Firstly, the issue of the 70,000 naira new minimum wage. The federal government has said that it has commenced full implementation of the minimum wage. And then on security, 33,700 terrorists have been killed in the last 6 months. And Nigeria's most feared bandit leaders are being systematically neutralized. Now, of the latter statement, I know that 1 or 2 bandit leaders have been neutralized in the last couple of months. However, the person that seems to be a key factor in the terrorism or banditry in the northwestern part of the country, Bello Turji, is still at large. And it appears as if he's eluding the entire armed forces of the country.
Exactly. Is still at large a ghost? Or is changing into different faces? Or the Tuji Bello, whatever it is, being called Bello Tuji. Is it that it's a different caricature, different people that we are just hearing? Just like when we were hearing the former Boko Haram leader then, if I could remember his name, Abubakar Shekau. Before you know, Abubakar Shekau have been killed, Abubakar Shekau have been arrested, Abubakar Shekau is operating here and there. Maybe that's the same nomenclature, the same process that the current Bello Tuji has also taken over. But one thing I understand is that over the years, the military have tried so much in the northeast and the northwest to eliminate or to neutralize bandits. But work still need to be done. Community are still suffering. Just 2 weeks ago, a set of bandits blocked the highway on Zamfara State, and the whole travelers hostage for a very long hours. And I think about 7 security men were killed, 4 soldiers and 3 policemen were killed. Although they were able to break through that road and dislodge the bandit with loss on gallant soldiers and policemen,
which never should have happened in the first place.
So what I'm trying to point out, in as much as the government is celebrating the achievement in the security sector, more still need to be done. More work still need to be done. The 3,000 bandits that have been killed, neutralized, is just a minute in the entire architecture of the numbers of bandits that we have been hearing. They may not even be up to that level, but we know that things have been done in that regard. But what I'm trying to point out, the government must take the security architecture very, very seriously, particularly their war against bandits and terrorism must be taken very serious, because the northeast and the northwest is suffering this effect of this bad security or insecurity they are having. Then again, the north central is also suffering it. Nasarawa, Benue is also having issues of insecurity, which government must also take very serious. We not talk about ritual killing, armed robbery in the southwest, and other kidnapping and killing activities of criminals across the country, because security is not just in the northeast or in the northwest, it's across the country. So government must take that very, very serious. Although they put the significance or importance of terrorism issues at the number one factor they are trying to address, but other issues of security also taking place, which the government must take very, very serious at this point in time.
Now on the issue of capital projects that this administration has embarked on and executed, it says here that of 330 bridges and roads earmarked for repairs in 2023, over 85% now completed. Lagos, Calabar, Sokoto, Badagry highway projects ongoing, while East-West road being redesigned.
Exactly.
These are all major infrastructures that most people, or major roads that most people ply, to get around the country.
Exactly.
And if there is one that we can all attest to, it's perhaps the FCT's major roads that are being, completed, abandoned projects that are being completed or have been completed in the last 1 year. How much impact does this particular statement, in terms of about 330 projects being rehabilitated, how much of an impact do you think this would have on the common man, considering the fact that it certainly does not put food on the table of the masses who are hungry?
Actually, there are two things we can gain from road construction, road rehabilitation that the government is carrying out. One is that its movement to people will be easy. Then contracts will be given out, which will create a kind of a seasonal job for people around that area that will be working for the construction company or carrying out those road projects. But putting food on the tables of individuals and groups, that they have to move out of their environment, they have to have access to good road. That's what it means. But what Nigerians are really calling for, in as much as these projects are also ongoing, some of them are completed, there is still much road to be constructed. There is still much road to be reformed, to be rehabilitated, redesigned as expected. The popular Kefi Abuja road has been in a dilapidated shape for over 2 years. Last week, me and Bito talked seriously about that road, how FEMA has abandoned that road. That road is almost enough.
And it's a major road.
It's a major road coming from the north central into FCT.
Yes.
The same thing with Abuja Lokoja road. There are also areas that need to be fixed. When we counted sections
Abuja Kaduna road.
Abuja Kaduna road is still ongoing. I think there is enjoying the capital investment from federal government. But I'm talking about the one that government have removed his hand completely. The Abuja Kefi road needs to be repaired. The Abuja Lokoja also needs some sections to be repaired. The Abuja Kefi road, there are about 82 sections that need to be repaired, fixed, because of erosion have damaged some of the road shoulders and the rest of them. So upon that the government is celebrating its road infrastructure achievement, more roads need to be constructed. According to the Minister of Works, there are over 72,000 road infrastructure that government need to fix. They are just looking at 33 now. There are others ones that have not yet to be touched. There's a popular road in Calabar and Akwa Ibom State that have been in dilapidated shape for over many years. They need to look at that road. We congratulate them. They have been able to fix the Port Harcourt Enugu road, very clean. They also be able to fix the Lafia Makodi road, very good. But there are other roads that need to be fixed. Apart from the north central and northeast and northwest, southeast also needs some road to be fixed. Southwest also needs some road to be fixed. Not the popular Lagos Ibadan expressway. Those ones are very popular. There are other roads like Lagos Shagamu road, which also need to be fixed. The Akure Ibadan road need to be fixed. So we need to call out the government that some of these roads need to be concretely fixed so that we can enjoy accessible road in Nigeria.
And some people might criticize the government and say that instead of coming up with new capital projects to execute, as most administrations do, abandoning projects embarked on by previous administrations. Perhaps this is a move in the right direction, ensuring that these roads are rehabilitated and not just coming up with new projects as a means of siphoning money, as many people would argue.
Definitely. That's what the current Minister of Works, Engineer David Umahi was trying to put across. For him, they are not after new projects. They are looking at how to finish up the old project they are carrying. That's why they talk about the 33,000 old road they are fixing, which is very important. But what I'm trying to point out, in as much as they are fixing those old roads, there are still other old roads that are much more important to the people. That's why I mentioned the Abuja Kefi Express, which is very key to people coming from non-central into Abuja. Then Lagos, Abuja Lokoja Road, which is also very key. Then we should not forget the Bida Mina Expressway, which is also very, very important for the government to fix. So in as much as they're celebrating all these road fixing, which will also create accessible road, good road for Nigerian supply, the key issue is that the maintenance of those roads is also very important. We should not forget the issue of maintenance of roads. After constructing them, don't leave it fallow. Allow FEMA to be able to take care of the maintenance of the road, as well as their community owns some of those roads. Government community doesn't own those roads, it becomes a challenge. That's why I see before 1-2 years, those roads begin to fail. And before you know it, there will be a challenge that the government will be calling for more budgetary allocation for such roads to be fixed or to be repaired. We must be able to encourage government to continue to maintain roads and ensure that those roads are fixed in a way that Nigerians can have accessible good road for a long time.
All right, Mr. Olamilekon, you have rightly made a point there, ensuring that not roads are only built but maintained as well. Rehabilitation of these roads and ensuring that the safety of people plying the roads are intact is also another key issue that Mr. Olamilekon here has highlighted. Now, as Nigeria celebrates her 64th Independence Day anniversary, pressure is being mounted on the government as citizens have protested twice in 2 months. This story is captured on the front pages of about 4 national dailies this morning: the Nigerian News Direct, the Daily Sun, the Vanguard newspaper, and the Standard Times. On that being said, let's pick up the first 2 and have a brief overview of the headline stories, and we'll be back to the discussion. On the front page of the Nigerian News Direct, you'd find the headline story inserted there: Nigeria at 64. Pressure mounts on Independence Day as Nigerians protest hardship twice in 2 months. Straplines say, "We will not be deterred." Showore vows as police deploy personnel. No procession, rally will be allowed in Abuja, AIG. Atiku warns of democratic erosion, says Nigeria's progress threatened by lack of political inclusivity. While Nigeria still a crawling giant at 64, CUPP says. Above the masthead, federal government approves 120 billion naira investment in 6 indigenous firms for gas infrastructure development, while Axis Bank relaunches W initiative to drive financial inclusion and empowerment in Zambia and Botswana. Tinubu swears in Chief Justice of Nigeria, reiterates commitment to independence of judiciary, while Ayedatiwa grants pardon to 117 convicts. Now, these, I believe, is in line with the commemoration of Nigeria's 64th Independence Day anniversary. You'd find inserted on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct a picture of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu congratulating the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudrat Kekere-Ekun, after her swearing-in ceremony as CJN at the presidential villa in Abuja yesterday. And right next to that is a picture of the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, receiving in audience the board of directors of Odua Investment Company Limited, led by group chairman Otumba Bimbo Ashiru, at Lagos House, Ikeja, recently. Moving away from the Nigerian News Direct onto the Daily Sun newspaper. On the front page of the Daily Sun, you'd find the headline story: Nigeria 64, tales of frustration, despair, distress. The older you get, the more frustrated you become, senior citizens have revealed. While feature stories inserted beside the masthead: Nigeria on brink of one-party dictatorship, Atiku warns. Hold federal government responsible for another strike, ASU says. Bauchi governor writes Tinubu demands investigation of intended pilgrim arrested for alleged banditry. We are winning war on terror and banditry, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said. Well, quite very conflicting statements there in the news, Defolarin. Firstly, as a means of celebrating a 64th anniversary. It should be the newspaper headlines should come with some sort of light and hope for Nigerians. But it appears as if, just as the caption here says, it's just a tale of frustration, despair, and distress. On one hand, Atiku is warning Nigerians that Nigeria is at the brink of a one-party dictatorship, and on the other hand, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is lauding himself and his administration, saying they have been doing well in the last 1 year.
I think like the one of what the president was saying they have been doing well in 1 year. Technically,
yes,
the economy is growing, but in the real form of it, the economy is in distress. People are frustrated. People are in depression. People are lacking. People are crying out. People are frustrated. But on the technical side of the economy is to look at it from the angle of what the figures are saying, what the numbers are saying. Yes. Growth figure 34, 23, 2.6. Those are the figures that government will be seeing. That's what the president will be shown to. And that's what will be seen. So you will see growth. But when you come to the field, you see something different. You see high cost of living. You see high cost of transportation. You see high cost of rent. You see even see the minimum wage they pass, not able to settle or take care of the needs of the people.
Yes.
You get it? So a lot of frustration is out there because the economy as we speak right now is not affecting the people as expected. Below the ladder of classes in Nigeria, the lower middle class downward, they are suffering. From the elite to the upper middle class, they are comfortable. We will have to say that because there are 6 classifications of Nigerian classes. The elite, and the elite can be divided into like 3 groups: the political elite, the economic elite, as well as the owners of economic owners of means of production elite. Then the upper class are people like already stable, owners of small businesses. You have already participated in government before. Then the lower class are people who are working for professionals. Then the other class, which is the 4th range, are people that are maybe civil servants, a little bit of senior class, civil servant. Then lower of it are the people who are struggling, small business owner. Then the lower part of the bottom are the people with nothing, unemployed people, frustrated people across the country. That's the 6 layers of classes in Nigeria. But the 2 upper class are enjoying, the elite and the upper class. But the rest 4 are struggling because they depend on the other 2 to survive.
Many people would argue that as it stands right now, Nigeria doesn't even have a middle class. It's just the lower and the upper class. The middle class is almost fizzling out because with the economic hardship currently bedeviling both the lower and the middle class, it's quite difficult to differentiate between who is low and who is medium.
Because that's why I say upper middle class and the lower middle class. The upper middle class are the ones that have joined the elite one way or the other. Majority of people that you see that are in government are upper middle class. They are not the elite yet. When they cross over to the elite group, who will now become the ruling and the governing elite, who dictate to the state what the state will do. Because we understand that aspect of how to understand the state of Nigeria. Yes. Because the elite, as you see, are the ones that control the state, because the state is an instrument in the elite, in the hand of the elite. You get it? Like elite control the police, the military, the soldiers, everything that you see, the prison court, the control. They appoint the judges, they appoint this and that. And set of the judges and they are in the upper class. They are not in the middle class. So that's why you can understand the classes in Nigeria. But what they are trying to point out is that the frustration out there will not make any newspaper to bring any celebrated theme to newspaper headline.
Yes.
If any newspaper wants to sell today, if any media want to sell market today, they will not bring any celebrating theme as their title or as their frame, or else nobody will want to read that newspaper. But a newspaper that will bring and show the pictures of how Nigerians are suffering at this point in time, and just like what Guardian newspaper did by doing a caricature picture, a cartoon of the elite with the big tummy, with big pot and big spoon, and the masses with a small pot, with a small spoon, and the elite still want to collect that plate of food from the masses. That is how Nigeria is today. That's why you see that Daily Sun talk about despair, talk about depression, talk about frustration, because that's what is happening.
Distress.
And distress.
Yes.
And the president also pointed that in address this morning, you understand the feelings of Nigeria. You know that there is hardship, but how much of that hardship does he know? That's what the president.
And how much more patient can Nigerians be?
Nigerians doesn't have the patience.
Nigerians.
That's why everybody using the word resilience. because there is no place anymore.
And now in less than 2 months, Nigerians have protested against the government twice. As we will see here on the Vanguard newspaper, let's just quickly run through the next two papers and I'll come back to you to have your take on this. Now, on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, as it greets your screen right now, you'd find inserted beneath the masthead, protest, police talk tough, organizers allege intimidation. Straplines say nobody is harassing organizers, federal government. IGP orders watertight security nationwide. AIG Igwe warns against protest, says miscreants, Shiites want to hijack process. We won't allow protest or procession in Abuja, FCT command has said. Now, on the front page of the Standard Times, you'd find there, Independence Day, IGP orders tight security as Tinubu addresses the nation. We are faced by yet another protest caused by the anger and frustration in Nigerians due to the continuous daunting economic hardship that is bedeviling the country.
Exactly.
Yet it appears that each time a protest wants to hold, the federal government alongside the police tend to kick really hard against it. I mean, it begs the question, is protest now illegal in the country?
When you say the federal government, let us quickly correct this. It is not the federal, it is elite who doesn't want violence or occur, so that there will not be a change in power or there will be a challenge to their power. It is the elite, it's not federal. Federal government, who control the government, is the elite. The elite are afraid of violence. The elite are afraid of things that will cause commotion that will make them to lose grip of the power. Because the masses are ready to take over the power. So the elite must do everything to ensure that that power doesn't get to the masses. So when you say federal government, invariably you're talking about the elite, because it is the elite that control the government. They control the court, they control the police, they control everybody. That is the factors or the command of the elite, what we call the commanding height of the state. Yes. So that is what is happening. So for the protest, the reason why this may also occur, particularly for the poor people who are not even interested in the protest, but who just want to earn their living, why government have to tighten up security, is because the organizer of the protest sometimes can lose fray or lose hold of the protest organization, like the one that happened earlier in August.
Yes.
Because they lost control of the protest, they now allow militants to hijack the protest, and instead of people protesting, burning tires on the highway, blocking traffic, stopping people, collecting their bags, collecting their money, act of criminality by a set of people who doesn't even understand the essence of why people are protesting. Because the protesters already educated Nigerians on the essence of their protest. Like what happened the last time, we interrogated some people that are saying they are doing, and I said, what are they? Please mention to me 1 or 3 things why they are doing protests. Everybody, they just kept quiet. They are just speaking language that some of us doesn't even understand. And we say, is that a protest? That's not protest. You don't even understand the essence of this protest. You are just blocking road. So the organizers have educated Nigerians on the protest. But the problem they may have with security is because of the hijack of the protest by certain miscreants who also melted arms against some of the protesters. In Yanya, for instance, people came out to protest, their phones were collected. You get it? So we must also guide against that. But in the long run, what we are trying to point out in this discussion is that we know that the elite will not be happy if there's rioting, if there's chaos in Nigerian society.
Well, Adefola, talking about the elite, earlier you mentioned that Atiku Abubakar, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, is part of the elite and is certainly not facing the hardship that most Nigerian masses are facing. Exactly. So he shouldn't really be criticizing the government in that manner. And again, like I mentioned, he has been quite vocal, and we saw a statement on the front page of the Daily Times, the Daily Independent, as well as the Matrix, where the NLC, the People's Democratic Party, and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar are all bemoaning the state of the polity in the country. What would you say? Well, before I have you react to that, let's just pick one paper out of this tree and have just take a look at what these statements are saying. Now, as it greets your screen, the Daily Times newspaper, captured on the front page of the Daily Times, you'd find Nigeria at 64, NLC, PDP, Atiku, bemoan state of polity. This is on the front page of the Daily Times. Now, the strap lines there read, Nigerians must continue to demand accountability from their leaders, NLC has revealed. Resist AC's totalitarianism, exploitation, PDP tells Nigerians. At 64, Nigeria lacks political inclusivity, free, fair elections, says Atiku. Three statements coming in from NLC, PDP, and Atiku.
If you take the word of the enemy, you get very correct in his own way, in the sense that accountability from all Nigerian leaders.
Yes.
Goes back to 1999, goes back to 1960, because it is because of lack of accountability that we have found ourselves in the problem that we have found ourselves. Now, for the other two people that make it, they are making statement from the political sentiment they belong. That is how people belong to a political party when they want to make statements, want to draw emotional sympathy or empathy from Nigerians to themselves. That's what they do. But take the one of NLC, accountability, and that falls on PDP, that falls on the article. Then on the issue of ensuring that we have accountability, goes back to what the elite are doing in Nigerian society. What the elite are doing, either a dominant class elite, a ruling class elite, or a governing elite. Because I also need to bring out the classification of this elite. We have dominant class elite, ruling class elite, and governing class elite. As we speak right now, all the people serving in government are the governing class elite. All the people who have served before or currently serving are members of the dominant class elite. Then we also have people who belong to the elite who are called the ruling class elite, because at any point in time, either there's election or there's election, this set of elite always makes decisions that affect the Nigerian people. Yes. They are always available. And the last of article are members of the PDP, and high level they are, all belong to the ruling class and government. So we must not separate. So when they are making statement, we should be able to look at that statement critically. Is it statement made for in ordinary Nigeria, or made to just energize their popularity or ensure that people will continue to remember them as somebody that could be remembered when election comes? That's the way I'm looking at those statements. Because I know that these people have been in government before. They have been part of the governing elite. They have been part of the dominant elite. They have been part of the ruling elite before. So whatever statement they want to make to encourage Nigerians, we should also remember that and reflect on that statement, that in the past you were there. What did you do about our problem? That is the whole way we should be asking our. So when NSC is talking accountability, it falls back to what I just said. What do you do when you are in government? When we are having 4 refineries, that your plan in government was to sell those refineries and never to build anyone. Your plan to give people license to build refineries was for the people to be bringing import of oil. And that's what have made the oil and gas sector to be so porous that Nigerian state cannot even take action against people who are in the oil and gas sector, because they have now become a cartel in that sector.
Even though divided by political lines
and they are united when it comes to the resources.
Yes.
And that's what it means. So even if tomorrow Atiku becomes president of Nigeria and he finds the problem in Nigeria to be something that need to solve, and he carried out some policy, do you think every Nigerian will still be okay with this policy?
For someone like former Vice President Atiku Abubakar to be making such statements after being in the corridors of power for the number of years he served as Vice President, and if you remember, the People's Democratic Party has been at the helm of affairs, or had been at the helm of affairs in the country for about 16 years or so. Since the inception of democracy.
Exactly.
Don't you think that the bottlenecks or the allegations that they are throwing at the APC is what many people believe they started during the first couple of years when they were in power in the country?
Exactly. Even this allegation of one-party state. Who started one-party state? Who said it's going to rule Nigeria for 60 years before another party will come? It is PDP. So all the late, and you could also remember this is someone that also crossed into APC before. He was a founding member of APC. He left because his aspiration and interest was not met.
Yes.
And you also know that 2027 is by the corner. He's also interested in the election 2020. So it must begin to throw out statements that will draw sympathy, draw attention, draw emotion, draw people to himself. That's what he's just doing. He's just doing the normal opposition party politicking, that you make statements to arouse sentiment, to energize people to look at you and say, okay, you could be the next person to fix our problem. Meanwhile, you are part and parcel of the challenge right from the beginning. You're a member of the dominant class, you're a member of the ruling class, you're a member of the governing class. So what are we talking about? So what I'm trying to point out is Nigerians should be very, very sensitive when it comes to when elites are making statements. In the sense that some of those statements are not for the interest of the people, it's just for their own personal interest to be aggrandized and increased and made popular. You get it? You can hear what they are talking about democracy. We ask them who started all this manipulation of election in Nigeria. It is this elite. When the election comes, hijacking.
I mean, this was popularized during the regime of successive regimes of PDP presidents.
So it is something that they started and others are continuing. And ask me, who are those others in it? It is still members of PDP that form APC. Is it not APC, ACN, PDP, APGA, and the rest of them that form PDP, APC? So it is these the people. So it's just like changing your
it was just a merger of persons from different political
parties. And ask why did he leave APC? Because they didn't allow him to win the presidential ticket in 2019. He left and he's now in PDP. And you still want to contest 2027. So he must always make those statements that will definitely make him to be popular, allow people to see him as someone that you need to be respected and the rest of it. But what I'm trying to point out, in as much as he's a political figure in Nigeria, the citizen must understand how to dissect elite statement. Whether that statement is meant for them, for their own interest, or is just meant for that individual interest.
Well, let's take a look at NLC's statement. You earlier mentioned accountability from their leaders and all. How much is NLC doing to ensure that they hold leaders accountable? Kudos to them. Nigeria now has a new minimum wage, 70,000 naira minimum wage. But is that all there is about the NLC? Is that all there is to the NLC?
NLC may not have that power to be able to do all that. It does call on citizens to ask because they can't do it. Because even then too, they have problem of accountability and transparency because of the politics of labor unions, because of the politics of trade unions. They also have their own challenges. But in terms of what they are doing, in terms of calling government to action, calling government to order, they have been fairly a little bit not as expected as most of us expect them to do. But they're doing their bit. We just want them to do more. Although because of the political dragging within the trade union itself, will not allow NLC to be at the forefront of struggle for Nigeria as we expect. Because they also have their own challenges. You get it? They have their internal struggle within themselves. Members, union leaders, and the rest of struggling to take one or two things, but to also come at the forefront and bring out that transparency and accountability to call on government. That's why they're saying citizens should call on government, because they know that then they say they are not saints. They also have their own challenges, but they are doing their fair bidding in ensuring that accountability is brought on the table in Nigeria.
Well, let's look at some more papers making rounds in the news this morning. As we continue on the discussion, we'll be taking a look at the Daily Times, again the Daily Independent, as well as the Matrix newspaper to get more insight into stories making the rounds in the news. Now, on the front page of the Daily Times Independent, the Daily Times, just as I had read out earlier, Nigeria at 64, NLC, PDP, Atiku bemoan state of polity. Nigerians must continue to demand accountability from their leaders. NLC has made a statement, while PDP tells Nigerians to resist APC's totalitarianism and exploitation. And Nigeria at 64, Nigeria lacks political inclusivity. Free, fair elections, says former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Above the masthead, you'd find a statement by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. Protecting Nigeria's solid mineral resources requires collaborative approach. And inserted prominently there on the front page of the Daily Times newspaper is a picture of some victims with their portion of relief materials provided by the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, as a result of recent flood in Maiduguri held at Babagana Wakil Haya Islamic School on Monday. Beneath that inserted picture, you'd find a rider story. Tinubu swears in Justice Kekereekun as CJN pledges to preserve sanctity of judiciary. And other rider stories. 64 independence. IGP orders watertight security nationwide. UBA achieves 40% earnings growth to 1.37 trillion naira, declares 2.00 naira interim dividend. Troops eliminate 8 terrorists, rescue 40 hostages, says the Nigeria Army. Middle Belt minorities demand succession from North and others.
That's serious.
Now, these are the stories on the Daily Times. Let's move away from the Daily Times and join the Daily Independent on this particular lineup. On the front page of the Daily Independent newspaper, you'd find the headline story: Nigeria at 64. Revive nationalism in defense of democracy, PDP tells citizens. And Nigeria is on the brink of one-party dictatorship, Atiku says. Despite challenges, be hopeful, Jonathan urges Nigerians. And above the masthead, CJN Kekerekun warns against disobedience to court orders. First half 2024, UBA earnings up 40% to 1.37 trillion naira, declares 2 naira interim dividend. Feature stories you'd find on the front page of the Daily Independent. October 1st protest. Dialogue with protest leaders, CSOs charge governments. Urge security agents to desist from the force. Learn to protest within limits of law, NLC president tells members. Rivers to get new people-owned structure, October 5th, says Fubara. Tinubu reaffirms commitment to uphold judiciary's independence. And in the Rivers local government polls, court bars INEC from releasing voters' registration to RSIEC. Picture of prominence you'd find on this page is that of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu congratulating Justice Kudura Kekerekun, the new Chief Justice of Nigeria, during her swearing-in ceremony at the presidential villa in Abuja on Monday. Now, rather on the Daily Independent, poor policies slowed aviation sector growth in 64 years. A statement by some experts in the industry. And Omar calls for peace once petrol subsidy will bankrupt Nigeria. Moving away from the Daily Independent, let's pick up our next paper of this lineup, the Matrix newspaper, as it greets your screen. On the front page of the Matrix newspaper, you'd find the headline story: Amid hardship, Nigeria celebrates 64th independence. It's followed by strap lines that read, symbol of national pride, unity, now passes with faint enthusiasm, says the CUPP. Nigerians burdened by broken promises, exploitation and corruption. But don't give up, NLC has made a statement. While IGP assures on watertight security for Nigerians amid protest scare, Showore says no backing down on protest until demands are met. We must tackle challenges undermining our prosperity, downplay issues dividing us, Senate leader Senator Godswill Akpabio has revealed. While PDP Atiku lament urges Tinubu to listen to heartbeat of Nigerians. Away from these strap lines, beneath the masthead, you'd find three stories of interest, but prominently is that of the recent swearing in of a new CGN, Kekerekun, and it starts off with the caption: huge tasks before Kekerekun as CGN unveiled, vows to prioritize obedience of court orders. Tinubu pledges commitment to independent judiciary. While court bars INEC from releasing voters register for Rivers local government election, Atiku urges National Assembly to consider 6-year presidential term. Now, these are the stories you'd find on the front page of the Matrix newspaper. Coming back to the studio to you now, Mr. Adefolarin, they are quite interesting stories.
Exactly.
Firstly, congratulations to Chief Justice Kudirat Kekerekun on her swearing in, and she made a really strong statement there that those disobeying court orders will be severely punished. Now, this is coming at a time or in a country where a lot of people do really disobey court orders, including security agencies.
Definitely.
And I know you understand what I mean.
Very well. And I'm even happy that she's making that statement, but we also need to also encourage the bench, that means the court, to stop giving out misleading and misconcepting judgment. You get it?
Yes.
Two courts will give different judgment on different issues. High court are most guilty of this. You get it? So she must also tackle that aspect. Apart from people disobeying court order, she must also talk to the bench, which is the court, and the judges, that they should stop giving conflicting judgment on the same issues. We have had issues around this particular matter on several occasions. Don't be surprised we are discussing about INEC court asking INEC not to release voter registration to River State INEC independent organization. You see another court to order INEC to give them this. So those are conflicting judgments that the bench must also address, which the CGM must talk to the judges that they should please, apart from we punishing people who disobey court order, the judges themselves must stop giving conflicting judgment or allowing what they call ex parte order to be misrepresented and given out in a way that is not expected. For instance, we understand ex parte order to be that when they give ex parte order, you should come to court and explain. It is not an enforced judgment yet, but we have discovered that people take advantage of the ignorance of that particular part of the law and begin to unleash on the people. So she must also address that area. Ex parte order abuse, disobedience to court order, and conflicting judgment by judges. They must stop it. If they can help us with these three areas, you discover that the court and the judiciary will be respected more as expected.
Now, there's another statement here that President Tinubu has reaffirmed his commitment to uphold judiciary's independence. Coming from the president, it's quite a breath of fresh air, considering the fact that a lot of people have accused the judiciary countless times of being in the pockets of the executive, of the ruling class.
Exactly.
I mean, bring them into power.
Definitely.
So, and you know what they say, the piper dictates the tune.
Definitely.
So is this some sort of relief for the judiciary and also for people seeking justice at the hands of the judiciary, this statement by the president?
We can treat that statement in different angles. Independent of the judiciary could mean financial independence for them. They'll get what they want financially. Independent of the judiciary could mean that they can dictate on any case that doesn't have to do with elite. But any case that has to do with the poor, go and make any pronouncement on it. But when it comes to the elite, they may not be independent. Then there could also be independent on the aspect of case and choice, that case filing, as well as appointing judges to a particular case. That could be independent for that. But when Nigerians have issue with the judicial independence, is the appointment of judges. Because as far as most Nigerians are concerned, there is no independence in appointing judges. Either a magistrate court judge or a municipal court judge, there is no independence of the judiciary in that aspect. So that's why many Nigerians have an issue. But financial independence, they can have it. The kind of cases they can decide on the people, you can have it. When it comes to the one that affect the elite, definitely they will not be independent. Yes. When it comes to appointment of judges, definitely they will not be independent. And that's the area that Nigerians are care for that. We want independence of the judiciary, particularly in the appointment. Because what we see is that it is just selection and picking of people, especially among the elite. The range of judges that you see in Nigeria today are from the offspring of the elite in Nigeria. Former governor, former commissioner's son, former this daughter, former wife of this, those are the people that have been promoted into the judiciary.
It's basically the same circle where you have perhaps friends or family members, one in politics, the other in the judiciary.
That's how, or the one controlling the oil and gas sector, one controlling the hospitality sector, one controlling the military, or one controlling the police. That is how it is being done. And it's not just in Nigeria, it's across. The elite control the spectacle of the state. And what are those spectacles of the state? The courts, the security, the military, the prisons, as well as the economy. That's how the elite can do it. So, and when they are doing that, they don't just go and pick ordinary person. As I'm sitting there, nobody come and pick me to become a DG or anything. Because I'm not a member of a political party. I don't have a godfather. I'm not from any elite family. So they will always bring their offspring into this. Except I fight. And how do I fight? I fight by maybe struggle with them, enter the political party, make all this. And those are how people who are not from elite family become somebody in the polity. Because they struggle for it and they appoint them. But the elite themselves, they pick their children, their associates, their friends, this and that, and they bring them up.
Yes.
That's how it is.
Well, let's talk about favoritism in a system like that, because it appears as if you have people of the same clan or the same family members, one who is perhaps being tried in court or is supposed to face the full wrath of the law, and then you have maybe a member of the judiciary, probably a judge related to the person, how do we ensure that the judiciary or that particular judge upholds the rule of law and doesn't tilt towards the side of favoritism just because this is their person?
Because their family member is involved in that case.
The entire scope of independence,
Exactly.
in the entire scope of independence as that the president is talking about, is this also included?
It will be very difficult because the independence will be there. Because what we expect is that if the family member is in that particular issue is involved, they must not. The family member who is a judge or a member of the bar or member of the bench must not be involved in the case. That's one. Then two, you know how it works in Nigeria. Technicality will always make good. Even when that person is expected to be sent to jail or commuted to life imprisonment or commuted to death penalty, the technicality of the law will always save them, and that's why that room for technicality comes in our judiciary system. Although it's not that it's bad per se, but just that it has not been used in a way that it should be used to better and ensure the judiciary benefit everybody. The judiciary, as you see, is supposed to benefit everybody, either rich or poor. But as we speak right now, it doesn't benefit. In the case that you have illustrated, I don't think that will happen. That independence will never be there. Rather, there will be influences here and there. Or there may not be direct influences, but what they will do is to subvert and use a part of the law that will let that person to escape. Except maybe the people in power are not favorable to the person in question. That could be another different case.
Now there's something else I want you to react to, Adefolarin. When I read it out earlier, you sort of smiled because as funny as it seems, it's actually something that we should be discussing or should be a topic of discussion in the country generally as it stands, especially with volatile Nigeria is. Now, on the front page of the Daily Times Daily Times newspaper, on the rider, the strap line on the rider says 64th independence. Middle belt minorities demand secession from North and others. Now, this is a form of secession that is a little bit different from the Biafran secession that we saw in 1967 to 1970. This is rather a regional secession.
Exactly.
They are still in the country, but they do not want to be part
attached to
of the northern part of the country or even the southern part of the country. What are we looking at? Because this has perhaps been an age-long issue that sort of was swept under the carpet, but now it's rearing its head up again.
It's quite complex for such people to be able to succeed in that secession. It's going to be very complex. Although it can be achieved, but not in immediate terms. It's going to take a long time. Then who are those people calling for that secession? What are their reasons? What are their grievances? Why are they asking for that? You know, in the Nigerian state, Nigerian country, so the ethnic nationality, there is the integration that we have had over the years. To detach is going to be very difficult. But it's because of the complicity in that. But what we need to tell this set of people is that they should come out with their grievance. So what is the really challenge? I know it won't be far from the insecurity issue. It won't be far from the X-Men farmers challenges.
Yes.
Get it? And it won't be far from marginalization and oppression of this set of people in their own area. But they must come out with their grievance. They must let Nigeria know their grievance. And they must also let Nigeria know why they want to secede the other part that is close to them. Because if we don't know, if we just assume that okay, they want to succeed because no, it will not be better. But what we need to also let them know that it's going to be a very complex issue to solve. But we can't discourage them because a lot of this disconnection has happened underground, not on the surface. Particularly when it comes to economic resources in some certain area in Nigeria. That's what most Nigerians are calling for. And if you ask those people now, if there could be a reason why they want to really go because of the economic resources that they are not having access to. So we must
be being part of the region,
but they don't get access
the dividends
or the resources. You know, I said when I had this discussion that one of the challenges that we have in Nigeria because over the years the elite deprive the poor, the masses of resource distribution evenly, and that's what is causing the grief.
Yes,
and that's what is causing the problem. Unless we address that aspect, when we address that aspect, then the frustration, the aggression will die down. The secession that this set of people are calling for will also go down.
Well, therefore, Lauren, in closing now, we just have about a minute to wrap up this discussion. What is your Independence Day message to Nigerians as a whole? From the elite class that you have hugely criticized here on set,
that's it.
to the lower class that you are sympathetic with?
for me, the elite should stop weaponizing poverty in Nigeria. When you ask how do they weaponize poverty, they weaponize poverty through the acceptance and implementation of new liberal economic policy, which give credence to free market economy by accepting all manner of free market policy that deprive government commanding and controlling the economy. Government must take part in businesses because that alone will help Nigerians to enjoy benefit of resource distribution that we're talking about. We could quickly mention the issue of fuel subsidy. If government have taken a drastic action by building refinery and making refinery to work, most Nigerians will not be complaining about subsidy removal or subsidy no removal. Then the floating of the naira exchange rate is also a challenge. We knew why government is going after floating of the naira because looking for money to save and to defend the naira currency. But they also need to know that Nigerians are suffering as a result of over dependence on importation, which means that government must concentrate on how Nigerians can be productive, and that alone will help us to aggravate and to reduce some of our suffering. And for the poor Nigerians, for ordinary Nigerians like myself, we just need to show patriotism to our country and be law-abiding. Protests should come, but should become within the limit of laws. Not protest to riot, but protest to receive our freedom from the elite.
Wow, well, there isn't a better way to put it
exactly.
than this very powerful message to Nigerians as a whole. But I must thank you so much, Mr. Adefolarin Olamilekon, for always finding the time to come around and share your deep wealth of knowledge with us on the program.
Thanks for always having me. And thank you for the management of ADBN for giving the likes of us the opportunity, economic analysts, political analysts, to always share our light, our wisdom, so that we can better our country. That in 6 years' time that we'll be celebrating our 70 years anniversary of Nigerian independence, we will not be complaining about frustration or despair. We will not be talking about lack of food or high cost of food. We'll be talking about abundance and even the distribution of wealth across Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks for
well, that has been Mr. Adefolarin Olamilekon, who is an economic and political analyst in the studio, and it has been a very, very robust discussion on our newspaper review headline segment. Now, this will continue after the break, where we will be taking a look at Nigeria's 64th Independence Day anniversary, reflecting on the past and connecting the future. Do well to stay with us. When we come back, Morning Express continues.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity, where I become empires. This is Market TV.
I am Adrian Flannan, and every week I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing and commercialness.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV brings you the best pricing and latest goods on display.
It's all about ambience and staying ahead of the trends.
Witness the creative processes that drive us.
Join us as we dive deep into the strategy of the commercial landscape. From streets to traditional advertising, social media, we cover it all.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, Market TV provides the insights you need.
This show gave us the tool to turn our vision into reality.
If you're ready to master the market, tune into Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a store of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. On the program, Niger Delta Today, as we explore of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
Hello and welcome once more. We could experience a wet Independence Day. We've got weather systems just dotting different parts of the country as at Monday evening. We've got our eyes on this weather system over Chad Republic. Doesn't look like much right now, but the conditions ahead of it are quite favorable. We expect this to give thunderstorms to part up the northeast from Monday evening and be over the central states and the northwest, including the inland areas of the southwest by Tuesday morning. Should be accompanied by strong winds. We expect rainfall between 20 to 50 millimeters at the end of Tuesday over parts of the northwest and the coastal parts of the southeast, which may lead to some flash flooding. I leave you with the outlook over other parts of the country.
You're welcome back to Morning Express. Now to continue our discussion on the program, we're currently being joined by Dr. Mrs. Regina Omoagege, who was a one-time director at INEC and currently the Executive Director, Women Education, Advocacy and Development Initiative. She will be joining us in the studio to discuss reflecting the past of the country and also connecting the future of Nigeria as Nigeria marks her 64th Independence Day anniversary. Hello and good morning and welcome to the studio, ma.
Thank you for having me.
Happy Independence Day anniversary.
I wish all of us same.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you in the studio. Firstly, the conversation that I had with our in-house analyst just a couple of minutes ago has been quite a very tensed one, considering the news coming in from newspaper headlines, you know, at a time when Nigeria is supposed to be celebrating almost 7 decades of independence. It's been rather met by a lot of apprehension, a lot of threats, you know, people wanting to protest and all of that. How did we get to this point where something that used to be a joyful celebration, you know, while growing up and all, has now become a pain for most Nigerians?
Oh, thank you very much. Joining in that conversation, this is what I would tell you.
Yes.
The world is changing.
Yes.
Okay, maybe you know that I'm a pastor.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to be speaking to you from the spiritual angle, because everything I do or say and the way I see society, I see it from the biblical angle.
Yes.
Because Many things have been told us in the Bible that were going to happen in the future, even before you and I were born, even before your parents, your grandparents, great-grandparents were born. And we are seeing them happening. So that's number one. Number one, it has been predicted that it shall be so. Remember that God said he knows the end from the beginning. So, having that in mind, human beings are evolving in different forms. Today we have so many human beings that are not full human beings. They match with animals. So they don't carry the original DNA of a proper human being as God intended it. Because after creating man, God said he regretted creating man. Because the heart of man is desperately wicked. You can imagine a man sleeping with a beast. What do you expect the product to be? You can imagine a man mixing with a beast. What do you expect the product to be? You can imagine a country as rich and endowed as Nigeria, looking up to Western countries, who say that everything God says is good is bad. What do you expect the result to be?
Chaos.
It kills. People get frustrated. People say things they are not supposed to say because they are not seeing the positive side of Nigeria. They are refusing to be nationalists. They prefer to belong to the negative. And mind you, Nigeria is a rumor society. Nigeria is a society where people don't find out things. Nigeria is a society where you just say something and it flies. People don't care to find out what the truth is. How did it happen? I can bet you, if you get out of this your office now, and you mistakenly see 2 or 3 people running, then they come, you will run after them without finding out why they are running.
Yes.
At the end of the day, nothing is happening. Maybe they are even playing. Maybe they are a group of friends playing. And they say, oh, then they come. So our society has gone bad because of our thinking. We don't have a trust society. We have a negative thinking society. We have citizens that are not patriotic. We also have, in quotes, some bad leaders. So that is that for now.
Well, you have lived for quite some time to have experienced what many people believe was the glory days of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Now, reflecting on this particular past glory days, how would you say a lot of things have changed from then to now, back when things were good?
Okay, I'm a very proud Nigerian. I benefited a lot from Nigeria. Nigeria trained me. I tell people every time that I am 100% made in Nigeria because I schooled in Nigeria, and by the grace of God, I don't think there is any country I can go and I will not be able to meet up with any standard because I was properly trained by my country and I was a good citizen. And if I want to take you down memory lane a little, and I want to digress a little.
Okay.
In those days when we were in school, we didn't pay school fees. We ate free food. Most of the food they gave us in school were better than the food we ate in our parents' home. And then suddenly, students will go on strike. They will start destroying government properties. How do you see that? Does it sound fair? A government that is training you, giving you everything free of charge. Why won't you express yourself by going on peaceful demonstration? You keep destroying government properties, then they have to build that property again.
Which costs money.
Which costs money. Then, of course, the money reduces. So they don't have much for you again. I want to believe that is why school fees was introduced. Because in our days, we didn't pay fees. They even gave us bursaries. They gave us money. We enjoyed ourselves. We ate. In fact, you go to the dining hall to eat, there is pepperless, there is food without pepper, and there's food with pepper, there's vegetable, there's a
variety.
Our popular dishes were all on ground for us. But we were obedient students. Remember our generation. that we are the bomb
boomers.
We are the boomers.
Yes.
And we are different from the millennium. We are different from the Gen Zs.
Yes.
Today there is a culture. There is a thinking culture. And the churches have not helped either by wanting to teach you that you could be rich without working. You see pastors going on the pulpit to preach heresy to people to hear, and people today, they adore their pastors, they see them as gods. So there's complete breakdown of law and order.
But where do you think we got it wrong? Because you experienced Nigeria in its beautiful glory.
Yes.
And now the country isn't really much to write home about, especially if you talk about the issue of insecurity, education. I mean, in the news this morning, ASU was threatening to go on another strike. NLC is always on the neck of the federal government for one thing or the other. Why did we miss it? How did we become so problematic as a nation?
Okay, I will start by telling you that my country, Nigeria, is not messed up. My country, Nigeria, is a good country. We have citizens that have messed themselves up by importing negative ideas and trying to want to implement it in our society. I am not part of ASU, but I believe that any organization, if you have demands and you are agitating for them and they are not met, you should go on strike. But a constant strike by ASU does not make it right. Why will ASU always go on strike? They can negotiate. It is the height of tertiary learning institution.
Yes.
And they should lead us by example and not going on consistent strike. I mean, they have a right to their demands, and I believe that government should take care of them. But this consistent strike, I don't support it. I don't support it.
Yes.
I don't support it because they equally have children, and giving them this kind of setback is not what we are looking for. We're talking about insecurity. Where is secured in the world? The whole world is suffering insecurity. Tell me, if you can tell me of a country that does not have security problems, then I can continue with that, with the conversation with you in that line. But I know, I read so much, and I listen to news, and I know that the whole world is in turmoil. And based on my biblical background and understanding, I know the turmoil has just started.
Yes.
So the insecurity is everywhere. Is it America you want to say they don't have insecurity? Because that has been your standard. Because they do this for their citizens, they do this for their citizens. Have you been to America? People sleep on the streets.
Homeless people everywhere.
Homeless people everywhere. So the country is in a turmoil. The whole world is in a turmoil. There is no country that is free from these vices. It is either one form of vice or the other. Just, you don't like the one happening in your country.
Yes.
Yes, because it is your country. You love your country. You don't want it to happen to your country. But by the time you go to these other countries that you look at as a standard, oh my God, you at times I don't want to visit them.
Due to the vices that are
The
inherent
vices are
there.
too many. Too many. Show me one country, mention one country that does not have security challenges. So if you can tell me, then I join your discussion with you.
I mean,
in that perspective.
certainly there are countries of the world everywhere with security challenges.
All over.
However, in the case of Nigeria particularly, what most people are concerned about is the rather slow pace of the government alongside security agencies in curtailing these insurgencies, especially the Boko Haram insurgency in the northwest, in the northeastern part of the country, the banditry and kidnapping in the northwest. These are just a handful of hoodlums or terrorists, you know, holding an entire state or an entire region to ransom. Yet it appears as if the armed forces or security agencies are playing with them with baby gloves, are treating them with baby gloves.
I'm happy you said there's a statement you made that I can't recall it, but I want to tell you this. Insecurity is everywhere.
Yes.
Israel, which we all see that is a chosen country,
is currently at war.
But they live under constant insecurity. I want to make an analogy between